can, it is consists of three letters. Consists of three letters, C, A, and N. So in the same time also, this word it consists of three segments. But also the word sense. The word sense, this word it consists of seven letters, but it consists of six segments. I'd like to say something here. The segment, it's related to sound or speech sound, while letters, it is related to the graphemes or spelling or writing. So let us, for example, utterance can be represented as sequences of discrete unit segment. And here, we would like to say something about this. So that speech sounds are not produced as a series of discrete segments. Rather, they merge or blend it together. So, for example, if you say sa, the, so, the, so this is it's discrete segment. It's not give us a meaning until we emerge or blend it together with another sounds or two sounds. So this is which called the speech sounds not produced as a series of discrete segments, rather they emerge, the blend together. So the vocal use, for example, does not work like ka, pause, so so first and after that we say na sound. So we don't say that if you like to pronounce this word, there is no something that it will belong us to speak or to pronounce this word. Actually, we say that na. So we don't stop between this discrete or this segment. Just we will pronounce this word, for example, can. So for this thing, in some time, sounds and letters may be equal and maybe similar in some word, and also maybe it is different. Maybe find a word or found a word. This word it consists of 5 letters, but the transcription of this word may be 3 sound, For example, as here in our example, can and k. This is k, h, or h. We say that aspirations. Okay, so we say that aspiration. This slide is just to give us a chance or to give us information about this speech sounds segment. It's equal segment. If I said speech sound, that means equal segment. And segment means any discrete unit that can be identified in the streams of speech. So if I like to pronounce something, well, I have taken examples can and sense also. It is different from letters and different from sound, or maybe sounds is equal, which called the letters. Also, speech sounds are not reduced as a series of discrete segments, rather than merged or blended. Unless we blend it or merge it or mix it, we are unable to do all, and it does not give us any ideas or information. So let us go ahead. So speech is maybe two part, maybe dynamic or rather than static. So it is mean movable, not mean it's mean changeable, rather than static mean. So target position, according to the target position of this speech. So those positions of speech origins that are specified for a given sound. For example, the tongue, the lips. So all this origin of speech, any one of them actually will give this word according to a place of articulation or according to the manner of articulation. So for example, so during the speech, these target positions are most of the times only for approximation. So when a sound begins to be articulated before the completing of articulation of the previous sound. For example, if I like to say, we say that brook, so the other sound will be spontaneously, it's come after the another one. There is no pause before or pause after. So it's look like the letter we say H and we say that is I or R, so like it's different from that. Also another thing or another phenomena, it's called the liberalization. For example, it's the word queen. So if we look at this word, although a speech, a signal is a sign that is physically so continuous, we seem to perceive it as a sequence discredited entities. It is very idea, very important idea. So I said that speech signals is physically continuous. So we seem to be perceived. And if I say perceive, to perceive it through our eyes, and comprehend it through our ear. So is that as a sequence, a harmony of the discredited entities? And this entity actually is consists of which call this segment. And if I ask you a question, what is the difference between segments and letters? What is the difference between sounds, segments, and letters?
Yes, Professor.
Yeah, welcome.
A letter can be more than one segment, or in reverse, the segment maybe have more than one letter.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you. So,
but I think, Professor, I hear like an air with along with your voice.
Yes, you don't hear me well.
Yes, the voice are not pure enough.
Oh, great. Thank you. So,
oh, great.
Right. Okay. I think the air conditions may cause some noise to us actually. So do we have the right to claim that the speech is a segment? So it is a question actually. Do we have the right to claim that speech is a segment able to the, if the articulatory and acoustic so aspects suggested to the, or the opposite? So this question. So look at these questions and to read it carefully, then to answer the question. Do we have the right to claim that speech is a segment if it, the articulatory and acoustic aspect suggested the opposite?
But can you remember us with the acoustic aspect? What do they mean?
Acoustic. So we said before that there are three main important things in phonetic and phonology. We said that is acoustic. It is related to the prediction of the sounds, articulatory, and also we say another part, articulator, auditory, and acoustic. So the aspect of the subject. Do you believe that if it is claimed that the segment or the speech is a segment able to the articulatory and acoustics aspects suggested? Exactly. So exactly it is about. We say that because the speech, it is equal a segment. The first definition I had mentioned to you above. So articulatory, so the way of sounds production, and acoustic means speaking sound, and auditory also to listening to the sound. This is, we talk about them in the next or the last lecture, I think. So a speaker, for example, the intention of a speaker. For example, we would like to take an example. So the speaker intends to utter the sequences of discredited sound, but the vocal aptitude, so instead of functions continually, so in motion moving from one sound to another next. So according to my ability, I intend to pronounce this word or this word, but unable to do it like I like to pronounce. So because this organ of speech is work mutuality, it's work one by one. So unable, for example, to stop to say a word or stop in a word, it does not give me which called it's not give me the main ideas or a clear idea. We say that intention can, for example, the speaker intends to utter a sequence of discrete sound, so but the vocal aptitude, this is a vocal system of a person, for example, in instead function continually in motion moving from one sound to sound. As I said, for example, can, so the vocal, it is move, make a motion from one sound to another sound. To another assumption. So the transitions from one sound to the next are automatic features of the vocal mechanism, as such can remain outside in intentions of the speaker. It not belong to the intention of the speaker. This is something that comes spontaneously for a person. So it is mean automatically features for vocals mechanism. So and it's related to the vocal tracts or vocal folds, etc. This is related to the. What about the listener? On the other hand, listener perceives the continuous signals as discontinuous. So it's discontinuous. So perceives the continuous signals as discontinuous. How that? So the listener perceives the continuous signals as disconnected or discontinuous.
Because the speaker doesn't speak continuously.
Yes, exactly. Anything else? So let us this lead us to very important things, evidence for the recognizing of individual segments in the flow of speech. This is a phenomenon. So we say that the flow of speech. The first things, or the very important things, actually alphabetical writing. So there is a correlation between a sequences of the symbols and a sequences of the speech sound. So, and the correlation may not always be ideal, so, but it is undeniable that there is a correlation. So very important thing, alphabetical writing. So ABC, that we said that there is a correlation between a sequence of the symbols and a sequence of the speech sound segment. Segment. It is a discrete unit. So all this that is mean correlation maybe not always to 100%, so be ideal, but it is undeniable that there is a correlation. We don't say there is no correlation. It's the correlation, it is found exactly, but it is not always. So in written words, there is a continuum, but in the word writings, we are not able to stop to write a word exactly, full word, yet we perceive it as the consisting of the three letters, just like the printed form, for example, can. This is, we say, written word. Alphabetical writings teach us very important things. To teach us the first point, that speech consists of linear sequences of unitary, discretely different from sound. So the first very important idea, alphabetical writings will give us a chance, or give us, or allow to us and help us or support us to this point. First, it's guide us or to prove us that speech consists of linear sequences that is horizontal from the capital letter to the full stop, not vertical. It's not vertical way. So, and of the unitary, discretely different sound. It's unity for this discretely different sound. Number two, also, that sound occurring at given places in one word can be identified within a certain sound occurring in different places in another word. For example, p sound. A p sound, we can find this word or this sounds in a word. And also we can find it in another word. But here and there, it is different according to the word, the sound become before it or to come back after it. So it is very important point also. We say that we say the alphabetic writing also teach us the sound occurring at the given places in one word can be identified with a certain sound occurring of different places in another word. For example, the word pen and the word also pin, etc. This word, it is different, but the p sound, it's found in this word exactly. Also, it's another point, we talk about the evidence for that. It's recognizing of individual segment that is to follow of speech. The first point, alphabetical writing. And the second one is it slips of the tongue. Slips of the tongues. So sometimes a person, if you would like to say something, will say another something. So it slips of the tongue. It is so it's not between the error or it's not between the mistake. So that is slips. For example, you have hissed my mystery lectures. So what about this speaker? He intend what or he mean what? So you have hissed my mystery lectures. This question. What about this? There is a slip here of the tongue for this speaker. You'd like to say? This speaker, he would like to say what? You have hissed my mystery lectures. 3, oh, instead of you'd like to say what? He would like to say, you have missed my mystery lecture. Instead of said missed, he said hissed. Just change the sound with ha sound. So it's called the slips of the tongue, and also we have another something called slips of ears, and also we have slips of pen. A person who already write the word with, he writes that, THE. So write that always. So if you like to say, if you like to write, for example, with, so spontaneously we will use with E letters as addition. So we said it is the slip of tongue, the slip of pen, it's a slip of pen, obviously say that it's slip of hand. Also the slip of tongue, is it like this question? And also it slips of the airs. For example, a person, if he said for him, for example, hamburger, he listened to this word or to be specific as hamburger. So this we say that is unable to listen to this word carefully. So with this, when I see the red, etc. A person, this students or this one, she would like to say with this one, we say that he would like to see T instead of sound, he would sound. So instead of sound, he would to V instead of sound, you would sound. Slip of tongue, it is a way for that we can use to try to illustrate the treatments of the speech sound. So by the speakers and describe this segments which can be shunted from one word to another. So this phenomena of slips of the tongue, it is very important and to be carefully to follow in which call the slips of the tongue. And also you must to correct your student exactly if a person say, for example, I lost my way, I lost the road in the dark. So you mean you lost your way in the dark? So you can correct him spontaneously with another idea. So the slips of tongue is a learners or committed these errors, actually, we can learn. Another also very important thing, rhymes. So for example, the fat cat in the hat. So here the sounds, it's look like rhymes. So fat cat hat. So rhymes suggest the need for recognizing individual segment. Is one of another very important point. So that's evidence for the speech sound follow. So also number D or letter D. So adding or deleting segments is another phenomena also. So for example, rap sound addition. So instead the person would like to say idea, he say idea. So instead of the idea, he said idea. So he added rap sound. Or another one, he dropped hat sound from the word hat, he said at. So this is another problem. So the segment rather than syllabus or the word are added or deleted. So the same utterances can, etc. This is also very important since adding or deleting segments. We look at this idea. It is very important to correct our student and to correct ourselves actually. So the speaker differences different. The speaker differences different from speaker to another speaker. There are differences in their way in speaking, in their expressions, etc. So the same person never say it's in the same way. Maybe in first time he say this word through a different way. May also in another times he can to pronounce this word through another pronunciation, or maybe change a word or add a word sounds, or maybe to omit one. So let us back hurry up to which called the evidence for which called the evidence for recognizing individual segment of the following speech. We talk about the alphabetic writing. Then we talk about the slips of the tongue, rhymes, and addings or deleting segment. So any question in this part?
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you. So let us to talk about the other or the rest of the which call the evidence, but we perceive them. We perceive them. We perceive them. So perceive what? Them are identical utterances, even though they are physically different. So this word, it's physically different from person to another person, actually. So we can perceive it. So them, perceive them return back to the sound, actually, or speech sound, or the word which I've mentioned about the four parts, so as identical utterances. And utterances is different from sentence. What is the difference between utterances and sentences? Questions belong to you. Utterance and sentence. How to differentiate between utterance and sentence?
Utterance may be a unit verb. So it is consists of many segments. Segment is a unit sound.
Thank you. There are we differentiate between sounds, so sounds, utterances, and sentences. First, for example, Muhammad traveled to London, for example. Muhammad traveled to London. This is a sentence. This is a simple sentence. So what about utterance? Utterance, the way we utter the sound, For example, Muhammad traveled to London. Now it is one utterances. Another person may say, Muhammad traveled to London. This is 4 utterances. Other persons say also, Muhammad traveled to London, 2 utterances, or another say that Muhammad traveled to London. Muhammad traveled to London. So another also very important. So we say that utterances, the way to utter sounds, if we say or that sound, it is mean utterance. But sentence is a full meaningful meaning and very important things actually. Also in language, there are something called perceptual, subjectives, and descriptive. Or this very important terms also. In any language, there are something called perceptual, subjectives, and descriptive. So anything needed aspect, needed idea, needed notions, or needed which called aspects or concepts. So, and also that need to subjective or descriptive. Another point also, take precedence for over the physicals and objectives will give the priority for something at the beginning, something that's a prominence for which call physicals and objectives. Also continuous in another sense very important that a basic assumptions of phonology, all these things actually will give us a chance to work exactly. It's to work very carefully. These things actually will give us a way to analyze, a way to add informations, etc. Distinctive sounds, distinctiveness, and contrast. Another point also distinctiveness and contrast. Distinctiveness, it's come from distinction or distinguish, so to distinguish between 2 things, 2 words. If I ask you here, examine the following words, a pair of words. For example, word bin and bin, chin, jin, kin, pin, and sin. So there are something related between this sound actually. So how to differentiate between this sound? It is different in how many sounds?
Differentiating by the sounds of the first segment of each word.
Yes, there is only one segment from word to word, one segment from word to word. It is for example, the P, point, pet, and bat, so food, boat, and pot. So this means pot as a part of the sheep, implement for a sheep, and also we pot it as a part of a pie to buy something. This is actually distinctiveness and contrast. Also, for example, in A, the difference between pin and bin. So a word differ only in their initial consonant signal. There's a difference between them. But in B, like pot and out, so we say that the words differ only in their vowel segments. So the first initial consonant segment and another is vowel segment. So segments whose function is contrast from our phonemes. So we say that a segment whose function is to contrast forms our phonemes. A phoneme means it is the smallest units in speech or in sound. And so that we say that speech sound, it is a segment. So here, the segment whose function, this is a function related to this segment is to contrast controversially forms are phoneme. So it is different from frame, maybe. Phonetics difference also that are linguistically significant are phonemic. Another example also for this, the difference between moon and noon. A different meaning and also different in ma sound and na sound, but they are similar in their place of articulation are phoneme. So ma phoneme and na phoneme. So we say that, and also we say that the discrete units, it's belong to speech sound, or the speech sound, it is a segment, and also it is phoneme. This word also it is related to each other in a meaning, synonyms. So we say phoneme is not necessarily so phonetically invariant. So invariance, phonetically invariant. So why? We can take this example. The very important number one, pin. And what is the difference between pa without h after it? So here phonetically we say pin here at the returns, and here phonetically there are also differentiate between h as a letter, ha as sound. How to differentiate between them? The difference between
by perceiving the sound.
Yeah, another thing.
P and pin, it is a plosive. We cannot utter a complete h at the beginning of the word, and phonetically, f is a complete f sound.
Yeah. Thank you, Ziad. So here phonetically, so if you say, so we say what like to, we say that it is voiceless, and that ha here it is indicated to this sound is expiration. There are some errors come after pa, but here, for example, in spin, there is no expiration. It is mean pa. Exactly, but why? Because it is not first or initial sound, but it will come at initial. Maybe we can pronounce it pin, and we say pin like spirations. And if it is preceded by sound, another consonant sound, we can pronounce it phonetically like pa. Exactly. Phoneme is contrastive segmental units that may have predictable phonetic variants. This is phoneme, a contrastive segmental unit that may have predictable phonetic variants. For example, the phoneme, for example, pa between slash and ba with expiration, it is called allophones. It's called allophones. So the difference between ba, this is pa here. We can pronounce it like pa, and we would like to pronounce it like pa with expiration. According to the initial, is it ba? Is it essential, or is it the second sound? Okay. This is just about what's called allophones. Allophones, it is not non-contrastive, whereas phoneme is contrastive. If we ask you a question, what is the difference between phoneme and allophone? Both of them, the allophones non-contrastive, but phoneme, it is contrastive. So, and I say phoneme, it is segmental unit that may have predictable phonetic variant to something that guessing or assuming, etc. So that the difference. Also, segment in English. Sounds that do not contrast. The sound we will do it, it's not contrast. Let us to define the allophones to know that. Allophones are phonetically conditioned, predictable variant of phoneme. So the shape of phoneme, it is different from a shape of allophones. So allophones, we can do it like with inspirations from one word to another. But phoneme, it is still a phoneme from word to another word. If it comes in the first sound or it's come in the second sound in the word, like pin and spin, and also we say cluster sound. Now I think less than 1 minute and we will be to shut the first session. Then we are back to you in the second one. Less than 1 minute now. So I saw your question, Shadi, but you can join me at email or at WhatsApp, okay? Because it's not allowed for give you. Okay, so okay, in another lecture we'll send for you a slide for lectures before we will start to looking for a new word that's to a meaning of a new word actually, because it is not allowed for us, or it's forbidden to use Arabic language here. So for this reason, I'll give you a chance also. And if you also need any question, you can ask us through WhatsApp or through WhatsApp. I think it is effective or more effective than another things else. So allophones and also phoneme contrastive segmental units that may have predictable phonetic variant. Variant, it is different from, it's come from vary, so it is come from variation. Okay, so contrastive and non-contrastive. So contrastive and non-contrastive. So sound do not contrast. Allophones, I say that the definition of the allophones are phonetically. Allophones mean a harmony of words, so that with like stress or like intonation, as in the meaning, yes, etc. Allophones are phonetically conditioned, predictable, something that may predict, we guess it, we can guess it, or something like assumption or hypothesis. So we will put it in front of predictable. Variants of the phoneme. Maybe this phoneme from one place to another place in the same word, it is different exactly. On the basis, for example, sound, phonetic quality of neighboring. A neighbor sound, another neighbor sound may cause some misunderstanding or impronunciation of a word, for example. D letters and R letters, or this sound, that sound. For example, if I had taken the example from drain, so the R sound. So we say this phenomena is called neighboring. So neighboring, and this also sound is related to each other. Maybe to miss or maybe unable to pronounce it correctly. So, for example, the position also, it is very important. It's very important things in which called allophone. There are three things: the phonetic quality, number one, of neighboring sound, da, and ra sound. It is related to other, we say, neighboring sound. This is one of phenomena that related to allophones, a harmony. So we say that a brain. This is called phonetic quality of neighboring. So the position between one sound to another, for example, one sound to another. What is the difference between this the sound here? For example, the word tap, the word tap. Also, there is a numbering between t and a sound. It is the differentiated between them. Allophones, it is very important things in phonetic and phonology. So, and the difference between them, that we say allophones non-contrastive, whereas the phoneme, it is contrastive, the difference between them. For more information, you can be to get the Peter Roach phonetic and phonology. It is he used a simple language and easy one, actually easier one. So it's very important for you. Peter Roach, phonetic and phonology. This book is enriched area with the knowledge of phonetic and phonology. Influence of prosodics, it comes from prosody. Okay, so element. If we say that sound, that here, for example, deep and rider, so a sound. So it is according to its prosody. It is the one of the type of knowledge, actually. So prosodic element. It's related to relate to each other or nearby. For example, deep or radar, a person who read a bicycle or a person. These very important things, influence of prosodic element. We can use a line here and a line here. This is a word or this is a sound da. In deep, it is different from da in radar. In the same time, we add da. The da, it is different from deep and different from a person who ride, for example, or a rider. So which call the difference between places to another places? This is just about phoneme and allophone. Phoneme and allophone. Da, here it is phoneme, and da here it is phoneme. But here, what about this da? It is mean allophones. It is not contrastive. It is not contrastive. But the phoneme, it is moved from one place to another place inside the sentence, inside a word, the sound. Also, phoneme as category. Phoneme as category. So there are many categories of phoneme. For example, allophones such as da, it is explained for above example. So for example, allophones such as da and ra form an abstract phonological category. If we say this apart, this like this shape, it is called allophones. This shape is called allophone. And this is shape also, it is different. It's called the phoneme. So the difference between phoneme and allophones in a shape slide like this, and here we so use this. We say that a part of the brackets, okay? And here is lab or slash, two slash is different from each other. Here we say allophones as the sound from an abstract phonological category. But the phoneme, you know that the difference between phoneme, and we differentiate between phoneme and allophone with this shape, So phonological categories. So the phoneme used to distinguish between where, very important. The phoneme used to distinguish between words, but allophones cannot. Why? Because allophone is distinguished between sound. It is distinguished between sound. I say that the phoneme phonological category and allophone also phonological category, but allophones abstract. Whereas the phoneme distinguish between words, whereas allophones can't. Why? Because it is related to phone. It's come from phone, and it is come from difference between phonemes and allophones. Is this part it is clear for you? Okay. What do you mean by phonological rules? Phonological rules. Phonological rules, example, alveolars become dentals before a dental consonant. Alveolar, like ga, so becomes dental before dental consonant. Dental consonant, which is the dental consonant? Ta and da, for example, ta and da. Phonological rules are a language specific. The definition: phonological rules are a language specific, limited, combined, exclusive. They are predictive, conform to the well-formedness condition. So phonological rules are language specific. They are predictive, conform to what? To the well-formedness. So for example, the condition of the different factor, and reflect unconscious knowledge. It is something not touchable. It is not something that's abstract, actually. We say phonological rule. It is rules that is a language specific. That is a language specific. It is definition. And they also, this rule, predictive to prediction, conform to the well-formedness condition. This is condition, and reflect unconscious knowledge. We have conscious and unconscious, as we say, aware and awareness. Okay, so aware and awareness, or conscious and unconscious. So complementary distribution. What do you mean complementary distribution? The distribution of allophones. The distribution of allophones in their respective phonetic environments. Such is that one never appears in the same phonetic context as the other. For example, when cards come, Superman disappear. When Masked Tiger came, for example, we say that Tamir, journalist Tamir, it means disappear. So complementary distribution, the distribution of allophones in the respective phonetic environment in such that never appears in the same phonetic context as the others. You get this? Let's to say example. For example, t, and ra sound. T in stop. Ta in stop. It is different from ta here in writer. In writer. The distribution of ta, this is phoneme, and this is allophone, and this is allophone. The difference between allophone and phoneme in a shape like this. And here, contemporary distributions, the distribution of in English, for example. I'd like to ask you a question. Who can give me a word started with ng sound in English and a word end with ha in English? Ng sound, and ha sound. Ha at the end, and ng is the beginning of or initial sound.
Nose at the beginning.
Yes. Ng there is no any word in English language till now I don't saw or meet me word initiated or resorted which called ng sound. Otherwise, also ha sound, there is no any word in English end with this sound at the end. For example, we say head, hurt, perhaps in the middle, enhance in the middle, but there is no word end with ha. Actually, till now, there is no word in English ended with ha sound. And in the same time, there is no word initial sound in English. For example, sing, coming, wing. But this is we call distribution. Distribution ha at the initial, ha and initial ha at middle, and here this distribution. This is distribution or complementary distribution. Note, there are no English syllables ending in ha, and are no English syllables beginning with ng sound. Thus, therefore, it would appear that ha and ng are complementary distribution and should be assigned as allophones of the same phoneme. For example, rung, ng sound at the end, but there is no any word that start with ha. For example, ng have very little in common. They are post consonants. If we would like to analyze them, both of them are consonants. It is related to also allophones. Why? Because we can make the complementary distribution between these sounds from one basis to another basis. I said that allophones, it is from one word to another word, we can distribute it by in an initial, by in a middle, and by at the end. This is just called the complementary distribution. Phonetic similarity. Phonetic similarity also, what do you mean by phonetic similarity? Sound which represent different pronunciations of the same phoneme must be phonetically similar. How to know? How that? So sound which represent different pronunciation, so of the same phoneme must be phonetically similar. We consider two sounds to be phonetically similar when they are shared the same places of or a manner of articulation. We know that phonetic similarity, how to know the similarity? How to know the similarity of phonetic through a place of manner and a manner of articulation, a place or a manner of articulation. So phonetically, similarly, they share the same place or a manner of articulation. When the sound shared or is shared in the same a place of or a manner of articulation, in this way we said this phonetic similarity, free variation. Free variation, when two phonemes appear in the same context, we say free variation. For example, without coding a change in meaning, If I say for you, free variation means two phonemes appear in the same context, in the same word, without coding a change in a meaning. For example, economic, E sound and E sound. So in same word, without causing a change of meaning. Both of them is a vowel or short vowel, so without causing a change in a meaning. Economics, so either or another accent either. So it says that I and I. So it is came in the same time. Phonemes appear in the same context. Two phonemes appear in the same context. We call for this phenomena free variation of the sound. For example, the word free variation among the allophones. As example, the word map and the word match. Here, we can say map, and we can say map. So we say, this we call the allophones. I said before that, allophones, not contrastive, whereas phoneme is contrastive. Allophones is similar, okay? But we can pronounce it through aspiration or without aspiration. Like, for example, a word, spin, spin, a pa sound. Word, mat, sound. It is mean free variation among. Return back to free variation. The free variation, two phonemes appear in the same context without changing a meaning. If I say, for example, map or say map with aspiration, it is not different or not to change the meaning of a word. If you say mat or you say mat, it's local, it is not also cost. Minimum per, another phenomena, it's called minimum per. A minimum per, as an example, beat and bit, up and down, rip and rip, feel and see. So if we look at this example in this slide, beat and bit, rip and rip, feel and seal. A minimum per consists of two forms with distinct meaning that. So minimum verb exactly mean it is different in one sound. A word may be similar in pronunciation, just different in one sound. So maybe short, maybe long, maybe and maybe back, maybe feel, maybe seal, fa and sa. Just the difference here in and sa sound. Here the difference between b and p, and the difference here between p, e and pit, long vowel and short vowel. I said that a minimum per consists of two forms with distinct meanings that differ by only one segment found in the same position of the word. Same position. Initial, end, we said that. Here say, this position is middle. This position is middle actually. Position here is the end of word. Position here is initial. This is just will give us which called the minimum per. Minimum per, it is the consists of two forms with distinct meanings that differ by only one segment found in the same position of the word. The contrastive function of the speech sounds in English is specific. The contrastive function of speech sounds in English is a specific. It is combined, it is exclusive. It is exclusive or in only one place. So it means not more and more. So contrastive function of the speech sounds is a language specific. Is a language specific. For example, English. So here, expiration. We say bit. Same meaning as we say above. There is no differences between pit and bit, but the difference in the way of pronounce is sounds. Actually, here with expiration, sound, and here the speaker also he just pronounce a word, and another we say. So he add aspiration after that sound. Minimum per, also phenomena. It is very clear phenomena, I think. Sound and spelling. Oh, great. What is the difference between sound and spelling? This question is up to you or belong to you. Hurry up. What is the difference? The time for discussion. What is the difference between sound and spelling? What is the difference between sound and spelling? What is the difference between? Welcome,
Professor. Sounds are the voices we are produced to utter a word or a letter. Spelling, how we write a word, the shape of words.
The shape of words. Great. So we say the difference between them, Ziad, we say that grapheme and phoneme. Graph to how orthographic, how to write our written. I said that is a language has two things: audible and readable. Audible,
exactly,
is spoken, and also
we can hear.
Yes, just if I said audible, I need a person to hear to me. If I say spoken form, I need a person to listen to me. So we say writer and speaker. Great. So let us to assume that what is the difference between sounds and spelling. So as I mentioned in the first lecture, there are 26 letters in English language alphabet, but there are 44 sounds in English language. So this means that the number of the sounds in a word is not always the same as the number of the letters. Oh, good. As the example, a briefest example, the word sense. We have 5 letters in sense, and we have 6 segments. For example, enough. This word have about 5 or 6 letters, but in transcription, it's had 3 sound or segment. So look here, the word cat has 3 letters, and 3 sound in same sound. So it's a C-A-T as letters, and K, A, and Ta are the sound. Here, the sounds and letters, it is similar to each other. Let us move to another word. For example, couch. Couch has 5 letters, but it's still only 3 sound. Oh, good. So because there is no difference, there is no similarities between sounds and letters. So letters is related to spelling. And why? Because letters also very important question. Why letters it is differ from sound? And what is the to make or made a difficulty in the difference between sound and which one it's difficult? Is spelling or sound? Questions belong to discussion. Which it's difficult?
Spelling.
Why? Give evidence
because
of your idea.
Because we have we hear a sound and we write what we hear.
Yes,
exactly. So I may forget some letters to write.
Great. There are also very important point, very important, most important point in the difference between spellings and sound. Very important, the key or the main or the most important differences or to make this difficulty between sounds and spelling. Which called in spelling, yeah, welcome. In spelling,
Please repeat the question, please, if you.
Okay, great. So what make the spelling it is difficult than sound?
Sir, can I share?
Well,
I think that there is some similarities in sounds, and they are different in spelling.
yeah, great.
I think that this thing makes it difficult.
Yes, also there are very
This is-
important. Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
this is one point, I think. Also, there is another point, if I can share.
Yes, sure, you're welcome.
Okay. In fact, there are many kinds of sounds can carry different letters. I mean that the letter itself can be pronounced in many different ways. So it's difficult to differentiate between the letter and the sound. As now you uttered or pronounced, for example, the word which contain the letter E or E in English, E. And sometimes it could be long and sometimes it be short. For example, we say bike, the letter I, bit. In this way, in the first sound, the first word, it's diphthong, whereas in the second, it's short E.
Thank you a lot. Thank you. There are also very important thing also. In letters, there are silent letters, but sound there is no called, or there is not something called silent sound. Any sound we pronounce it and utters it, but in written or in spelling, to make the spelling is difficult to sound because there are also which call the silent letters. Okay, let us go ahead. So cat is written as cat in transcription actually. Couch also is written as couch. In spite of couch had 5 letters, but it still had 3 sounds. So in couch, the 3 letters or TCH are one sound represented by phonemic symbol like chair, church, and I said. Try to the exercise below, they have to develop your knowledge of the English pronunciation. It is exactly differences between the sound and spelling. Thank you for a person. Thank you for your share. And also there are very important things that is the different or make difficulty, which called silent letters. Silent letters, and there is no called silent sound. Pronunciation of final ED. So simple past tense. Here there are very important point here. The final ED ending has 3 different pronunciation. T, d, and it. We say that. T, d, it. So ta and da and it. Final ED is pronounced ta when. When we pronounce the ED, we add it to the past symbols. So ta. After all voiceless sound, to differentiate between voice and voiceless, so this will give you a chance to put ta sound to ed added to the word or the past simple tense. For example, voiceless sound are made by pushing air through your mouth. no sound comes from your throat. And we say that before that, the difference between voice and voiceless, we can make vibration. You can check it in throat or check it in your finger inside your ear to differentiate between the voice and voiceless. For example, voiceless sound, for example, look. She looked to me, I looked to her. We say pronounce ed here, it is cat sound. Clap, I clapped to him and I clapped to her. So I missed the train. I missed the bus. So we say watch it. So I watch it. That sound, we don't say watch it. So watch it, finished. We don't say finished, we say that finished. Here, the difference between simple past tense, the final, so that final ed ending had 3 different pronunciations, the and it. So final ed pronounced when after all voiceless sounds consonants. So voiceless sounds are made by pushing air through your ear. This is an example. So let us go ahead. Final ed pronounced da. Why? Oh, great. So voiced. If the final sound, don't the final letters, the difference between the final sound and final letters. I don't mean letters. I need here the sound, the last sound. So for example, if it is voiced consonants, it is make a vibration in your throat, touch your neck. When you make a voice sound, you can feel a voice vibrate. For example, voice, la, la, na, b. So all vowel sound, if we add ed at letter, we will pronounce it as that sound. It's smelled, saved, cleaned, rubbed, delayed. That sound. We said that sound. Why? If I ask a person, why do you pronounce the ed that here and where you can pronounce it ta? I pronounce it ta according to the last, smell, la sound. La, it is. We don't look at the letters, we look at the sound. La, smell, la sound. It is one of the voice sound. For this reason, after I added ed, we pronounce that sound. Cleaned, rubbed, belayed, etc. Final ed is pronounced after ta and da. Oh, great. Here, they are very important. We add ed, we pronounce it ta or da. And how to pronounce it? Example, final ed is pronounced it after ta and da, both of them. So the last one, the last point. So we say that, for example, looked. Is looked. He looked, one syllable. Needed, 2 syllables. So I say needed. So look it. I don't say looked. So we say that looked. I say needed. It, need and ed, 2 syllables. We say needed. Here the different. Decide, decided, needed, wanted, invited. So there are very important things. We call it actually ed added to past symbol. We can pronounce it ta. After the sound or the last sound must be voiceless, and we pronounce it as da when the last or the final sound is voice, and we pronounce it the last sound